Hey, this is Fred Lankford with Petty's Garage again for another Fred and Friends Friday. Today we're going to be showing how to stroker clearance a 5.7 for a 4080 stroke crank. We've got a few of these that we're building now. They'll be for sale soon. We're just laid the crank in it and mocking it up and dropping the piston in and going to find the location where the rod gets very close to the bottom of the cylinder. Now it's in, I've got a homemade wire gauge and checking the rod bolt clearance to the bottom of the cylinder. And I'm marking it with a paint pen right there just so I'll know where to clearance it at. My gauge is 95 thousandths thick, and I like to have that much for clearance. Now I've just gone back to the grinding room and just going to work on that area a little bit. It's probably a 15 or 20 minute procedure. Prefer to use a stone actually on this because that way it's somewhat clearances and final deburrs it all at the same time. You just go on down the line from hole to hole and clearance the places that are previously marked. And you have to do the same on both sides of the block. Right there's a good shot of how it actually looks when it's finished. It's real nice and somewhat deburred all at the same time. And there's some of the grinding shavings. Now we're out in the wash bay, just going to rinse it off real quick so we can go back in and just double check and make sure we did get the work done the way we needed it. Just give it a little quick spray off bath and then blow it dry. And then back to the clean room. Once again, putting the crank back in it the whole 9 yards just to give it an accurate mock-up. And you'll notice this time putting the piston and rod in, not using the ring compressor from like shown in earlier episodes. For this mock-up purpose, we don't have rings on the pistons, and that's why we're able to do that. It just slides right in. You roll it up and put the cap back on the rod. And this will be the final check. You can see where the bottom of the cylinder is notched out a little bit, and we have plenty of room and clearance there now. Thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Witcher. We're doing a little repair work to the 1970 Superbird. Mitch and I are looking over it right here. We have a visitor coming in, Mr. Dale Inman, to give us the lowdown on really how these cars were put together and give us some insight. There, Dale's kind of going over the front end with us, showing us the ins and outs of one of these cars.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. So we should. I think if we can get positive caster in it at all, it's going to be better than it is now. I tell you what, I ain't trying to run any business, but I'd grease them things real good,
and I'd let it down and see if I could get some 2 or 3 degrees positive caster in both wheels, set the toe about 3/8 out, and then we'll go drive it and see if it's okay. I don't think anything's gonna break. If they break anything, they're gonna have to hit something, you know. But
how to weld these anchors together.
What?
So you have adjustment up there.
Oh,
The twist.
how to get them indexed.
Yeah,
How to clock 'em.
Yeah, because the twist of the torsion bar. I hated that. And Richie finally made one that was kind of adjustable and moved, but we never did use it much. I wish I could look under one of the later 70s, you know. But at Idlon and Pittman on, but that's, and Buddy Arrington's the only one that ever got a set that we fixed. And when we shortened the Idlon and Pittman on the length of the steering arms, that thing steers like it's they probably 50% better.
You just got all the leverage into it.
Change the leverage.
All right. What we found kind of wrong with the car is it has a caster issue, but a lot of the front end was worn out. So one of the biggest items that was worn was the left front lower ball joint. So I'd actually never worked on one like this quite before. The later model race cars just had a screw-in ball joint. These, you actually could rebuild them and put new ball studs in them. So what had happened was, I guess over time it had just worn the ball, and they had welded the keeper ring in it. So we had to cut the spot welds off of it. Basically, I removed the keeper ring, took everything out and cleaned it, and faced off just a little bit of the bottom so the keeper ring will get just a little bit tighter. So that's what I'm doing right here. Cool thing was, after I did it, I talked to Inman again, and he said, "Yep, that's the way I would have done it too." So that's pretty good assurance there. So now we're getting ready to grease everything up and reassemble. So right here we're kind of setting preload on the ball joint a little bit. It'll tighten that ring up. It'll have just a little bit of slop when it's together, but after we put a few pumps of Performance Plus grease in it, it tightened up and was real nice. So here we're spot welding the keeper ring back in it, so that way it doesn't back off. And now we're just going to kind of put the whole assembly back together, the steering arm onto the spindle, and kind of hang everything back on the lowers and uppers like it should be.
You just gonna max the caster out on it?
Yeah, try to match the caster out, and as long as the camber's, I don't want a ton of camber in it. I mean, it don't need more than a degree. And there, most of the assembly's back together, all but the brake drum, which a lot of people were kind of amazed when they see these cars and realize they had drum brakes on them. But right there, we put it back together, and the slop's gone back out of the hub that was there before. Thanks for watching Feature Friday with Fred and Friends.